So here's a quick comprehensive review of the Rage Crossbow X Broadheads. I know there's a lot of reviews online. I just wanted to answer some of the questions that I had when I was actually looking at these broadheads to purchase them. So here goes just quick points that just kind of want to hit up on. I'm trying to do a little bit more with my backgrounds and stuff, so if something's not working or the sound's not the greatest, just bear with me. I'm trying to figure it all out. So, as stated, these are the crossbow specific broadheads that Rage has come out with. They've been on the market for a while. They come in about these two different weights. You've got 100 grains and 125 grains, and that is your broadhead and your blades together. The advertised cut distance on these is 2 inches, and I put it up to a caliber not too long ago, and your distance actually from tip to tip is about 1.9 inches, which leads me to speculate that they are including this diameter from this football shaped blade, your tip blade, into that 2 inches. So as you see, the blades are not aligned with this tip blade. They're kind of offset. Both are removable. You have Allen wrench screws right here on the base of it and right here on the tip of it. And they're for removal of the respective blades. So one thing that there's a couple things that make these different from a lot of other mechanical blades on the market. The first thing is they are crossbow specific. So they as in Rage have come out and said that there's a expanding taper. So as you go further back along the base of the broadhead, you have an expansion in this area here. And the thought process behind that is a lot of the broadheads, they are more specific to the diameter of a regular arrow shaft. So they're the same diameter. A lot of times what you'll have, like if you use field tips, is you'll have a step right here between your blade body and your actual arrow. So what they have done is they've actually widened the base of this so that you have a better aerodynamic, more efficient flying broadhead is what I was trying to say. The other things that are specific to these is instead of having an O-ring to retain your blades in the full closed position or retracted position, they have these shock collars. And these shock collars are actually made of almost like a plastic, and they are I like to describe them as a plastic, almost a ceramic. So they have a little bit of flex to them, but they are brittle. So the theory of operation behind them is when you impact something, a target, or we'll say in this case a deer, with your broadhead, is the pushback or the force on these tips, these blunt tips here, is going to actually start the cutting process and disengage that that shock collar. So that shock collar is going to break, and your blades are going to expand until they reach their full diameter, and by that point the broadhead has already entered into the target. So your blades are stainless steel. The body of the broadhead is actually aluminum. So you can replace these blades, which is highly suggested anytime you shoot them into a target. But your blades are going to maintain their sharpness a little bit longer, and I've had a few that have not deformed or broken apart, and I've been able to sharpen them again. The thickness of these blades, I think, is 0.35, that's the thickness of them actually. The price of the actual broadheads, you're going to get 3 in a pack, and I believe it comes with 4 or 5 shock collars. So you're definitely going to want to buy more of those. They range anywhere from $30 to $45, and that's Amazon. The actual website from Rage has them listed at $44. So there's a couple different packages of accessories you can get. This is the actual shock collars themselves here, and there's 18 in there, and I think the website says 15 to 20 in a package. And then you also have the replacement blades. And like I say, all these are found on the website, and they're also found in your major places: Gander Mountain, Bass Pro, Cabela's, Dick's, things like that. The other neat thing you're going to get with the actual Broadheads is you're going to get a practice tip. This practice tip is 100 grains, and so it's made to mimic your Broadhead. So you're going to do your initial sight-in of your bow with your field tips, 100 grains as well, and then you're going to put this on, and this is just going to mimic it in flight. So there's no expansion of the blades after it gets into your target. This is a dull blade on front. It's you know, just bare metal. So these are nice to have, so you can reconfirm your zero with the actual Broadheads. I haven't had too much of a shift, an impact from field tips to these Broadheads. I'd say if anything, it's just a little bit lower, just a touch lower. So that's always a positive on that. Like I said, you're going to get with your replacement blades, you're going to get actual blades, you're going to get tips, you're going to get shock collars, which is about, I don't know how many it says in here. I think it's about 4 or 5. So you get 4 or 5 shock collars, and you're going to get spare parts. They're really easy to disassemble. There's an Allen wrench on the main body, and then there's an Allen wrench screw on the tip. So you replace those really easily. It's really actually pretty simple. If you want, you can actually replace those screws too. They have them in there. There isn't, in the way of upgrading them, there isn't too much you can upgrade. I did by accident once order the, I think they were they were the Rage Extremes, and they are actually advertised at a 2.3 cut diameter, and it might be a little bit hard to see, but the one on my left hand has those 2.3 blades on them, the 2.3 cut blades on them. They measure in at about 2.2, I think it was, as opposed to the 1.9 of the 2 cut, the original Crossbow X blades. So can you? Yes, you can put those blades on it. Should you? They're probably going to suggest not to. You're going to have a change in flight characteristics. When they are collapsed, they extend a little bit further, but I've had no problems in them being effective in whitetail deer. So I would suggest, if you're not getting the most out of your Crossbow X blades, which is kind of ridiculous because they really do a real efficient job, then you can always upgrade to your to the extreme ones, and see how that works for you. The practice tip, I've had thoughts about it. I've got I don't know if you could small game hunt with this. It'd probably be as effective, I would imagine. You can always replace this blade. There's no way to replace this main blade here. So if you're thinking of maybe taking this practice tip apart and putting your regular blades in it, I've thought of it too, but this is kind of like there's no head on this screw here. It goes through the main body. There is one on the front, so you could put a blade on here, but you're pretty much stuck with this the way it is. I wouldn't suggest shooting your targets with these. I know some people say you should, but I think the practice tip is well enough. The problem you're going to run across with hitting a target with these is that your tips are going to deform because of the rotation of the arrow, and you're also going to have your tips break off. I have a lot of them from actual hunting that have passed through, and you get sort of like a deformation of the blades themselves. You'll get a lot of nicking from impacting the ground or impacting bone. They are, like I say, razor sharp. The one problem you're going to really have with them is they're actually the tips are going to come off like that. Now, whether or not this is actually inside the animal, it's hard to tell because your cut channel, when it comes out, is so dang big that you're not going to be able to tell if you lost that blade inside or outside. Here's another one that's been twisted from hitting a bone or just from entering the ground. A lot of the tips are going to deform on you just from impacts. It's given. And like I said, the main thing you're going to have is you're going to have tip separation from your main blades. Every time you shoot the arrows, you have to replace those shock collars because, like I say, they are kind of disposable, expendable kind of items. I've only had one do this, and because the main bodies are aluminum, the impact with solid items such as rocks, it's really going to mess those things up. So yeah, it sucks about it, but I think you'd come across the same thing with, like, say, a Muzzy or your all solid broadheads. Yeah, they're not, some of them aren't aluminum, but I think you're going to mess them up right away. So you're going to have a sharpenable, busted up broadhead. They do make some that they're called hypodermics, and they actually, the body of it is stainless steel, and it comes to a real sharp point. I'd imagine those would probably mess up pretty well on you too. They have ones that have chiseled tips, and they actually have like a corkscrew tip on it that you could replace. So maybe that would probably be a little bit better. And but this is literally after 3-4 packages of these. This is the only one that I've had do this to, and it hit a rock in some real hard ground. So I would suggest every year buying another pack until you have a couple packs on hand, so you can actually have backup broadheads, and then get yourself every year get a replacement set of blades. And depending on not, this would probably last you a couple seasons, but you could probably get a thing of those packages as well. I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to know about them. There's not too much about them. I mean, the shock collars are pretty straightforward on installation. They're a little tricky, but if you follow the directions, there's a little arrow that says place it on the blade, and that's the way it goes. I mean, there's only really one way to go onto it. For the money, I love them. I haven't shot too many other broadheads, but these ones rank up there. I'm going to try to get some more reviews on stuff that I currently have and that I've been using. But hope you enjoyed the video, and come back and see what else we got.